In this demo, we are going to show you how Docyt offers a digital back office for the UPS stores. This picture gives you an overview of how Docyt interacts with various systems in your back office. In the center is Docyt, which is an artificial intelligence system at its core, automating various financial workflows, including your bookkeeping. On the top left, you're seeing Docyt's interaction with your bank and credit card institutions. We partner with 15,000 plus financial institutions, and using a banking partner that gives Docyt the ability to get a read-only access to your transactions. This allows Docyt to do daily accounting of your expense transactions as well as accounting of your revenue deposits. The bottom section shows you how Docyt gets revenue data from your revenue system. This data includes your house accounts and any payments as well. If you're using any other tools to bring in the revenue data from your POS system, then Docyt can be configured to reconcile the data being recorded from that other tool, but it can take care of the reconciliation of the revenue against the deposits coming in your bank. On the bottom left, you're seeing that Docyt interfaces with various cloud payroll systems. This automates payroll accounting. Now on the left side in the purple circle is where your role comes into play. You submit bills and receipts into Docyt by using the mobile app or just by scanning and sending it as an attachment in an email or dragging and dropping it from your computer. You also provide feedback on any unusual transactions which the system hasn't seen in the past in the Docyt product as well. As these bills and receipts are submitted into Docyt, you can also take actions like paying these bills. Docyt continuously keeps reconciling the payments against the transactions from the bank. All of this automation continuously automates your bookkeeping on top of QuickBooks and powers the live reports on your phone and on the computer. Also, your financial planner submission, which is due at the end of the quarter, is a service that Docyt provides through an account manager that is assigned for your store. Let's now look at the product to see some of this function in action. Let's first start with your business reports dashboard in Docyt. For your store, Docyt provides two very important reports. The first one here is the owner's report, and the other one is the store manager's report. Owner's report is for you as an owner, for your partners. Store manager's report is for your store manager. Access to each of these reports can be controlled using the edit access option available on both these reports. What you're seeing here is your live adjusted gross sales, your cost of goods sold in each of the line items, your gross profit on each of these product lines as well, followed by your variable expenses, fixed expenses. The beauty of this report is that it lets you go inside each of these lines to see the bill or the receipt or the transaction that contributed that expense. Even on the adjusted gross sales, you get to go inside each of these lines to see the revenue lines from each day. You get to compare this for the current month against the year to date. So this report lets you go all the way down to the net income in that month or in any other month. This report is for the store managers, and it only gives you for the store manager to analyze the gross profit. They can go again into each of the product lines you're selling and see their gross profit. They can drill down into these lines to see the receipts or the bills for each of these expenses as well as the revenue lines. They get to compare the gross profit for each of these product lines against the same month last year, right next to each other. Also, they get to compare the year to date against the year to date last year. This is a very powerful report to empower your store manager to achieve targets around gross profits on a regular basis by analyzing this report. They only get to see the gross profit, nothing below that, unlike your owner's report. There is another important section for reporting in Docyt called the multi-entity reports. If you're a multi-center owner and have 2 or more stores, you may want to analyze and build your multi-entity report, which compares. So here I'm seeing and aggregating both the store's numbers and also kind of seeing each of the individual store numbers next to each other. This specific month for Demo 2 stores doesn't have any data. Demo 3 does. I could look at for any other month to see some of this data. But the idea behind this report is essentially to, again, see this at a holistic level and also kind of compare stores next to each other. This gives you, again, all of this data down to the net income for each of the stores. Let's next look at the tasks area, which lists down your monthly or daily tasks where you have to take actions in the Docyt product. What you're seeing here is for your store's transactions for review as well as some document requests where you have to upload documents. The transactions for review area is transactions which have been flagged in Docyt by your account manager. These are transactions which the system hasn't seen in the past or just does not know what type of transactions these are. For example, any unusual check you or your partner might have written out as a withdrawal from the business could be a transaction that would have been flagged for more information. It could also be any new vendor which the system hasn't seen in the past or is just not confident on. As you provide feedback on these transactions by just tapping on it, leaving a chat message right here for your account manager, or you can categorize any of this data, the type or category of this transaction if you're aware of it, and mark it as reviewed. This goes as a feedback to your account manager who reviews this data before he accepts it. And then this also goes as a feedback to the AI so that next time such type of transactions show up, the system can take care of it automatically. The other task here is for uploading any documents for the document requests that are placed by your account manager. These are usually around month-end documents like bank statements or credit card statements, which are required to reconcile your bank and credit card accounts to ensure there are no missing transactions, there are no duplicate transactions. As the automation is doing the bookkeeping automatically, this reconciliation ensures that the reports are accurate at the end of the month. Let's next look at the Revenue Center module in Docyt, which is tracking your revenue. So your revenue reports from the UPS Store revenue system are downloaded daily and updated into your financials. This revenue is also getting tracked against the deposits that are coming into your bank account. Here you're seeing the revenue data for the entire month. But if you scroll down all the way at the bottom, you're also getting to see the revenue that is still outstanding and hasn't been deposited into your bank. It's shown by the payment processors in terms of cash or American Express or Shift. This is the amount of cash that you have collected, but it hasn't hit your bank yet. Let's now look at the expense side automation in Docyt, starting with the Accounts Payable module. This module has an email listed at the top left. Any payable invoice for your store can be scanned to this email. You can also drag and drop from your computer into this module directly. When the invoices come in here, all the data from those invoices is automatically extracted by the AI. Let's actually try this by adding an invoice here, by dragging and dropping it, and we'll wait for the data to be extracted. So I have an invoice here, I drop. We don't have to wait here, so I'm going to close this out. It's in processing state. Now the data has been extracted. Another interesting piece of information here is it has been flagged as a possible duplicate. What that means is there is an invoice in the past or it's in the queue, and clearly these invoices are duplicates. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. So let's look at one of invoice in the queue. You can go ahead and edit any of this information that has been extracted by the AI on this invoice, include category. If you have multiple stores and this expense spans multiple stores, so this looks like is a business insurance and it's being paid for the entire year and it has to be split between multiple stores. So you can do all of that function very easily here by using the split functionality to split this expense between multiple stores. You can split it up by percentage or by dollar amounts. So I want to use the chart of accounts of the other store to split this expense 50% between this store and the other store. So this kind of multi-entity use case where you're trying to split expense between your stores is very easy. You could also go ahead and accrue this invoice into the entire year, spread this expense into the 12 months by using this period and accrue function. This invoice is spanning the entire year, so I'm gonna set the starting date and the ending date for the billing period, and this lets me spread the expense very easily between all the months based on the number of days in each month. This again is a very useful feature to make sure your financials, the expense side, is reflected correctly in all the months. So let's close out this invoice, and on the invoices, once they are verified, they go into a ready to pay status where you can go and pay this invoice using a Docyt check, Docyt ACH, or you could even mark it as paid using any of the methods if you're paying this invoice outside Docyt. Paying by Docyt check and Docyt ACH allows Docyt to process the payment for you. It'll send a check on your behalf to your vendor. For an ACH, it is going to do an electronic payment to your vendor. Let's look at what a Docyt check looks like. This here is a full service Docyt print and mail check. When you pay any of the invoices using a Docyt check, this kind of check is mailed out to your vendors. Now you're not seeing the signature copy or the account number in the digital check, keeping it secure. This check gives you the full float. In other words, until the check is deposited by your vendor, no money goes out of your account. You can also authorize to pay this right from your mobile app, no matter where you are in the world. Docyt will print and mail the check for you. At the bottom right, you're seeing the USPS tracking that we provide as well on each of these checks. If you have additional pages of invoices or stubs to attach, that is also possible to be sent. This is a self-print Docyt check, another variation, but in this case, you are printing the check locally at your store. The check is useful when you have a need to print it and the person you're handing it over to cannot wait for the check to arrive in mail. This check can be authorized also from your mobile app, and your manager in the store can log in into Docyt to print this check. There is no cost to this check. You just have to maintain blank check stock paper in order to print this check. A major benefit of this check is that your store manager does not need access to your QuickBooks and can print this check directly from Docyt. Let's now look at the banking accounts module. This is where you add all the credits that are used for your store. This is again listing all the bank accounts. Just tap on this plus icon if you have new bank accounts or credit cards to add here. The transactions area, this is listing transactions across all the bank accounts and the credit cards for this store. I can search for a transaction from a specific vendor. It will tell me which card it happened on, what date, and so on and so forth. The transactions are here that are being shown are also being matched against the receipts or the bills that you're paying. So this green box here specifies that this transaction has a matching receipt, which I can just go in and look. Through its live connection with the bank accounts, and as the documents are flowing into Docyt, Docyt is continuously matching them and powering these live reports for you on its dashboard. We have a dedicated onboarding team that helps you with the setup. To get started, just reach out to our sales team at sales@docyt.com.